Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Shelley. I'm Departmental Administrator for the Biological Sciences Department. Thank you for attending the session today. It's going to give us a chance to learn a little bit more about our supervised study courses, as well as our Biological Sciences certificate. I will be sharing my screen with you throughout the presentation so that you can follow along the PowerPoint slides that I have. And if you'd like to take any notes along the way, you're more than welcome to. Before we get started, I would just like a couple of my colleagues to introduce themselves if they don't mind. Jen, if you don't mind going first, and then maybe Lucy.
Sure, I'll go first. I do recognize a lot of these names from second year, but it has been quite a while. For those of you who do not know me already, I'm Jennifer Campbell. I'm the program coordinator in Biological Sciences. I also assist in coordinating specifically some second year courses right now that include Bio B10, Bio B50, and Bio B11. And I also, as a lot of you know, answer questions regarding any sort of undergraduate advising that relates to your program requirements, some degree requirements, mixing and matching programs, and that sort of thing. Welcome, everyone.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lucy Pickering, and I'm the Administrative Assistant in the Department of Biological Sciences. Welcome, and let's start the presentation.
Perfect. So I'm just going to share my screen with you so that you can follow along the PowerPoint. Slide, and again, there's a little note here that this session today is being recorded. So I just wanted to note that so that you're all aware. And this is the agenda today. So we're going to be talking about the benefits of a research-based learning experience, the available directed research and supervised study courses that we offer here in biology, the application process and finding a supervisor, recognition and awards, the Biological Sciences certificate. And then at the end of the session, we'll have time for a question and answer period. So if you do have any questions along the way, I'd ask you to save them for the end of this session. So note them down, and then at the end, we'll try to get through as many questions as we can, if not all. So first, we're going to be talking about the benefits of taking a directed research and supervised study course. So there's a list of benefits. I'm just going to list them off. So undergraduate research experience is a high impact practice. A high impact practice is an active learning practice that promotes deep learning by promoting student engagement. The courses will also enrich your undergraduate experience as they provide an opportunity to learn in order to achieve the credits that you need. If you are wanting to pursue a career in academia, this is a great way to obtain some research experience, which is often mandatory when pursuing this field of work. Performing research can also expand your academic and career horizons in new ways, as you'll learn a lot about yourself and your interests, as well as have the opportunity to connect with other like-minded individuals. And in addition, you'll gain confidence in your ability to contribute to science, which is a great benefit for both your personal and professional growth. So this slide here summarizes the courses that we offer for both our Biological Sciences program, as well as our Paramedicine program, which is joint with Centennial College. So I'll just review these quickly before we delve into a little bit more detail. So we have Bio B98 and B99. So these courses count for half a credit each and are offered any term throughout the year. So this is also similar for Bio C99 and Bio D95. We then have Bio D98 and D99, which count for a full credit. And these courses are offered either in the fall and winter academic year or condensed in the summer alone. And we also have Bio D96, which is part of our Paramedicine program. And this course counts for a full credit and is offered for the fall and winter academic year. I would also like to note that these courses do not necessarily correspond to the year of study. So for example, we have plenty of fourth year students that may be taking Bio B98. And then the reverse, there's a lot of second year students that might be taking B98. So I just wanted to point that out in case you were thinking that the letters correspond to year of study. So the main thing is that you would find a supervisor to work with, and if the supervisor is wanting to work with you and you meet the prerequisites, then you would be eligible for the course. So we're first going to talk about Bio B98 and B99. So these are introductory supervised research experience courses. They are different courses in that there's no letter or percentage grade given at the end, and that it follows a pass or fail model. So a little bit different than our other courses. So once you've secured a supervisor for the course, you would work out an exact schedule with them, which would include a minimum time commitment of 72 hours. So that's predetermined before you start your work on the course. And I would also like to note that Bio B99 is identical to B98, but is meant to act as a second research experience. So you would take Bio B98 first and then Bio B99 if you were interested in continuing your research. So if you were, then you would, if you were wanting to work with the same supervisor, then you would come up with a plan of study, the scope of which goes beyond the work that you did in Bio B98. So these courses are a great way to get your feet wet when it comes to research experience. We then have Bio C99. So this course is meant to act as, it's a different course in that it's a team-based course. So we have teams of 3 to 5 students that work together to create a research proposal and or implement a research project under the guidance of their faculty researcher. So it is the only course that we have that's team-based, so that's a little bit different. So how your work is assessed for the course is determined prior to the start of the project and may include your level of contribution over the term, as well as a final written piece. For this course, I'd also like to note that it's up to you to find other peers to work with. So if you know this is a course that you're interested in, it is a good idea to start early so that way you can find other students that may want to work with you, because it takes a little bit of time to do that. And these courses in general do take a little bit more time to register for rather than simply for registering for a course on Acorn. There are more steps involved for our supervised study courses. The next course is Bio D95. So this course is a little bit different in that it's based on, it's not a lab or research-based course. So it is different in that way. Instead, you would be examining a primary literature around a pre-selected topic. So there would be a lot of independent work when you're performing your library research, but then you would also frequently consult with your supervisor. And there are 5 sessions of group instruction that will form part of the coursework as well. So this course culminates as a written report. And yeah, it's different in that it's not research or research lab or field-based, fieldwork-based. So the next course is Bio D96. So this course is designed for students with an interest in the field of paramedicine. So while working alongside an industry leader, practitioner, and or researcher, you'll perform critical analysis of a current topic in the field. And it is up to you to find that individual that you're going to work with. We don't set you up with someone. It would be your responsibility to find someone in the fields that you could work with. And with this course, you'd also be reporting to our course instructor and paramedicine program supervisor, Dr. Shelley Brent, who's actually here today. Hi, Shelley. So the next courses that we're going to talk about are Bio D98 and D99. So these courses provide laboratory or field research under the guidance of a faculty member from our department. Once you've secured a supervisor for this course, you'll decide upon a final research topic with your supervisor. The course also includes 10 sessions of group instruction tutorials, and these tutorials actually aren't offered in the summer because it is a little bit more condensed. So the 10 tutorial sessions are offered when you're taking it in the regular academic year. And similar to B98 and B99, we have D98 and D99, which are identical to each other. D99 would be if you wanted to extend your research that you had already done in D98. So you would be taking D98 first. You wouldn't jump to D99. So here, I'm just going to review some tips on finding a supervisor, because with these courses, we don't match you with a faculty member. We don't have a list. We don't really have a list of faculty who are taking on students to work with. So this is up to you to work on. I will share the screen with you so that way you can see a list of our faculty on the website and read about their biographies, because that's usually what I suggest first, is you want to read about the type of research that everyone is interested in or working on, and then that way you can kind of find someone who you think may be a good match to work with. I'm just going to share my screen with you right now. So if you go to our homepage, which is here, and then go to the site menu, people and faculty, you'll see a list of everyone here. And you can click on the name and then read about them. So I always suggest doing that first, because then you have a sense of who you may want to reach out to. And with that being said as well, I would suggest when you're sending an email to anyone you'd like to work with, I wouldn't send just a general email like, hey, do you have space to work with me this term or next term? I would try to really relate a little bit more and maybe come up with a research suggestion or relate to the research that they do in some way before reaching out to them. So it's just a little tip. I'm just going to go back to the PowerPoint now. So in addition to those steps, I would also suggest attending your professor's office hours and demonstrate interest in their research, because you may want to connect with them at some point to do one of these courses. So it is a good idea to have to network with your professors and get to know them. I would also suggest keeping in contact with your TA to see if they ever need any extra lab assistance. And yeah, those are the main tips that I have for you. I should also note that for courses D95, D98, and D99, you are permitted to have an off-campus supervisor with the permission of Dr. Arthi Ashok. But if that's the case, then you also need to be working with a UTSC Biological Sciences co-supervisor. So you would need 2 supervisors in that case, but if you were wanting to work with someone off campus, that is a possibility for D95, D98, or D99. So I do have a slide here, a brief slide here, just about the upcoming winter term. If you haven't already registered for the winter, we do have Professor Yan Wang looking to take on a student for either Bio B98 or D95 with a focus on the microbiome of mosquitoes or herbivore mammals. I did also hear back from some instructors who won't be taking on students this term as their schedules are full. So those names are listed there. So if you're reaching out to people and making notes, I would suggest avoiding to contact those faculty as they're already full for the winter. With that being said, it's also a good time to think about the summer. So if you're looking to take these courses in the summer, it's not too early to start reaching out to people and expressing your interest. It's better not to save this type of thing until the last minute. The professors only have so much space. So it is a good idea to get a head start with the process rather than scrambling at the end. So for the next portion of the presentation, we're just going to talk about the registration steps. So, I mean, after you've secured a supervisor, or you can do that in tandem with some of the other things, there are some steps that you need to follow. So one of the main pieces is that you'll have to fill out paperwork with your supervisor. So I'm going to show you on the website where you can find the paperwork. There are quite a few forms that need to be filled out. There is a form for our department specifically. So there's a specific form for each course. And then there's also a registrar's supervised study form that needs to be filled out. So I'm just going to show you where those are. So if you go back to our website here, and if you go to resources, undergraduate studies, and undergraduate research opportunities, you're going to see all of our supervised study courses listed. So here you'll find the forms for fall 2021 and winter 2022, which will eventually be converted to the summer. But if you continue to scroll down the page, you'll see each course listed. So you'll see a permission form and a registrar office supervised study form. So you'll want to fill those two out. And for Bio B98 and B99, you'd actually want to click on the course to get the permission form. And then you'd want to click here to get the supervised study form. So that's where you find the forms. And we'll also post the slides from the presentation here on this page if you wanted to review anything later on that we've talked about. I'm just going to go back to the slides. So the next component that you would have to work on is printing off or downloading an unofficial transcript in academic history off of Acorn. It doesn't need to be an official transcript. And you would want to get each page initialed by your supervisor. So that needs to be done before you can submit the documents. Like I said, these courses are different in that once you register on Acorn, your status is going to be sitting as interim or INT until all of the paperwork has been submitted and processed. So that's when I come in. Once you do have these 3 documents ready, you can email them to me, and then I'll review them to see if there's any changes that need to be made or anything missing or if they're all complete. And then at that point, I'll send them all to the registrar's office for processing. So usually they're pretty quick at processing the forms once I submit them. And then your status in Acorn will adjust to approved or APP. So that's when you'll know that you're good to go for the start of the course. This slide here shows what would normally be in normal times our presentation day. So we have some images from 2019 where a few students have won a monetary prize due to their amazing presentations. So unfortunately, because of the pandemic, this has been put on pause, but we are hopeful that this will be returning for winter 2022. I mean, with COVID, it's challenging and that every week and month seems to be different and a little bit unpredictable, but we are really hoping to be back in person for these for the winter so that we can resume this. It's funny looking at these photos actually and seeing all the groups of people so close together back there. So it'll be nice to get back to that one day. So that concludes the portion of the presentation about supervised study courses. We're now going to move on to the Biological Sciences certificate part of the presentation. So I'm sure a lot of you might be wondering what that is exactly. It is a designation on your transcript. It's a way to plan for and develop your research skills, and it's a way to map out what you need to do in order to get a solid research background. So there are some requirements before you can apply for this certificate. You would need to be enrolled in a biology or a neuroscience program as either a major or a specialist, not a minor. And you would also need to consult with the biology's liaison librarian to improve and work on your information literacy skills. So it's kind of a little bit of a test, not a test, but a conversation with the liaison librarian to kind of see where your information literacy skills are at. So again, I'm going to share the screen with you so you can view the website and more details about that in a moment to lay out all the details. But that's one of the steps. And then you'd also want to make sure that you have at least an A- in Bio D98 and one other biology research course. So out of B98, B99, C99, or D99. And then in addition to that, you would be working on a final report to explain your research experience. So I'm just going to share the website with you so you can find some more details about that. So if you go to programs, let's see the Biological Sciences certificate listed here with all the steps. So everything that I've talked about, plus the email is here. So this is the email that you would have to reach out to in order to set up an appointment with a liaison librarian. So once you've met with the liaison librarian, then any notes that the librarian has taken will be passed along to Dr. Arthea Schock, and then she'll review the notes to see if she's satisfied and if you're able to get that certificate. Back to the slides. And this slide here summarizes course registration and the requirements for the certificate program. So I'll just let you read that over. We've already talked about everything here, but that summarizes everything. And then I'm just going to briefly talk about the content of the final research report for the certificate. So there are some requirements. We need to have your full name, student number, and the programs that you intend to graduate in, as well as the supervisors that you worked with. So we do need to have that. For Bio B98 and B99, you would need to provide an approximately 200-word description of the project that you worked on, the role that you had, and any skills that you developed during that time. If you were registered for Bio C99 or D98 or D99, you would have to provide a 500 to 1,000-word summary talking about these things, as well as any conclusions that you had made. And then for all of these courses, you would also need to include a critical reflection of your experience. That would be approximately 200 to 400 words. So this is where you get to discuss your personal growth and development, your academic strengths and weaknesses, and the type of work that you most enjoy. If the course helped you determine any future career goals, you could always include these points as well. There's no right or wrong answer with this. It's just simply a time to reflect on your experience and let us know about what you learned. And it's also a great time if you have any suggestions for us on how to improve the student experience, the student research experience. We would love to hear those points as well. So that concludes my presentation. We are going to move on to the question and answer period. So